Hello, everyone. I am just logging in. So if you're joining me this evening, please say hello. Hello, everyone. I'm going to look for some comments to come in. And then we will get started. So I am connecting to Facebook. Oh, hi, Kisha. How are you? Thank you for being here this evening. Hello, everyone. We have about 1 minute before starting. I hope all of you have had a wonderful Wednesday. Hi, Gail. How are you? I hope you've all had a great Wednesday. We've been working on retreat today. So my Stampin' Fairies were here, Mary Kay and Diane. And we, we're working on make and takes. And we are also working on pillow gifts. So my grandniece is wonderful, Kisha, and I actually have, I think I have 3 photos of her for tonight. Maybe it's 2. I'm looking to see. No, I've got like 3 photos. So I have pictures tonight of the new grandniece and of course the grandsons. It's been a while since I've shared their pictures, so I wanted to show you what they've been up to. Hi, Corinne. Hi, Lisa. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Our fall retreat is coming up, and today is the very last day to sign up for early bird registration. You can sign up tomorrow, but it does go up by $10. So you definitely want to get signed up by today. You can do the retreat in the box, and if you're unable to attend, and I'll give you all those details this evening as well. All right, so I'll wait about another minute and I'll share with you some family photos before we get started. Hi, Margaret. Thank you for sharing, everyone. I really appreciate it. Hello, Carol. Nice for you to be here. Thank you. All right. Well, you can tell it's summertime because, attendance has been really sporadic and I had to miss last week because of a new niece being born. So I'm glad I was there, and I'm happy to be back with you all this evening. So I will give you a heads up. I will not be here next Wednesday night, okay? I plan to be with you on Wednesday, August 27th, okay? So I have to skip out next week, but then I'll be back the following Wednesday night, okay? So mark that in your calendar, on your phone, whatever it is you need to do. Anybody have questions for me this evening? I'll tell you a little bit about tonight. I'm going to show you some photos of the family, and then we are going to be making a tote. And this is the Celebratory Sips tote. I've made these totes many, many times. It's one of my favorite ones to make. And what's so nice about this tote is if you join the virtual club this month, you're going to have 4 beautiful cards that you can tuck inside the tote, okay? So I'll give you all the details about my Be Inspired virtual club as well. Hi, Donna. Hi, Tina. Hello, Peggy. So good to have you here this evening. Thank you. The grandbabies are good. And Tina, I have pictures tonight. Can you believe that I remembered? I knew I needed to pull some pictures of my new grandniece. She was born last Thursday morning about 9:19 a.m. But I did get to see my niece on Wednesday night, and while she was in labor. So anyway, but we have a new baby in the family, so we're going to go visit her this weekend and spoil her a little bit. All right, so let me show you a few pictures of the newest member of our family. And you know what? I didn't even ask her mom if I could share these pictures, but I've already seen them on Facebook, so I'm sure it's fine. So this is our little Marcy, and I believe that's what she wore home from the hospital. Her name is Marcy Elise, and she is my niece's daughter. So I am a great aunt. Oh my gosh, she's such a cutie. She's in purple. And then here's another really sweet picture of her. And I believe that was the going home outfit that she chose. So look at all her hair. And then one last picture. We're calling her Marcy. She's got one big yawn. What do you think of that? That's the way I feel in the mornings. How about y'all? That's exactly how I feel. Okay, so to move on to the, oh, you know what? I have a picture of Marcy with the family. Hi, Carol. So in this photo, you're going to see my son-in-law, Cullen, on the left, and he is holding baby Marcy. And then you'll see my mom. She is a great grandmother. So there she is. And then you'll see the twin grandsons. That is, let me look, that's Ferris. And then my daughter Andrea is holding Miles. So that's just a picture of the newest great-grandchildren in the family. Aren't they fun? So fun, such a celebration. And I've got a couple of beach pictures I can share with you. Aren't you proud of me, Tina? You ask me every week about the grandsons, and I finally remembered pictures. So thank you, Deborah. Here they are at the beach. My daughter bought this really cheap inflatable pool, and they sat in it and played in it all day. Ferris is on the left and Mousy's on the right. So there they are. And you'll probably remember Mousy's our heart baby. So he's a little bit smaller than his brother, but just as precious. And this is Ferris at the beach with his glasses. He's still wearing his glasses. His eyesight is improving. He has a very strong astigmatism. And the doctor says he needs to keep wearing those glasses. So that's really hard for a toddler because as soon as he's aware of those glasses, he wants them off. So there is Mr. Ferris. And this is the family at the beach. Let's see. My son-in-law Cullen is holding Miles. And my daughter Andrea is holding Ferris in those pictures. So there they are. And one last picture. This one right here is my daughter Andrea with Miles. And you will notice there that he has a G-tube. And guess what? They were able to remove his G-tube this past Monday, just 2 days ago. So we're very excited about that. He's graduated, no more G-tube. He eats from the table. He's doing very, very well. And Margaret, you're right. Their hair has gotten so blonde just from being in the sun. You're absolutely right. I was gonna say that. Isn't that crazy? So yeah, their hair has gotten lighter. So yeah, they're fun pictures. I haven't shared in a really long time, and I had a couple of minutes tonight, so I thought I would pull some. So anyway, there they are. Now, we do have some Stampin' Up! Specials that I do want to tell you about in case you don't know. And that is In Color products are 15% off. Now, ladies, today I stocked up on all 5 of my In Color card stocks because I know I'm going to need those. And so that's a really good item to stock up on. If you haven't purchased your In Color ink pads, this is an excellent time to do that. And it's also a great time to get the Stampin' blends. So if you don't have the In Color Stampin' blends, put those in your cart. You're gonna get 15% off. There are also a lot of card kits and designer paper on sale because it has the In Colors in it. So definitely check that out, okay? We've got some brand new kits, and we've got the Bunch of Thanks kit. This just came out on August 5th. So that's a fun kit to stamp. And then we have this new kit. It's called Brighten Your Day. And I don't have this one yet, but it looks like there's a lot of laser cuts that you layer onto the card base. And then we have a crafting kit, and it's called Harvest Home Garland Kit. And so it's a great way for you to embellish your Thanksgiving table by decorating it with this particular kit. Okay. Also, the birthday kit came out last month for July. So this is also a really good time to pick up that kit. This birthday fancy kit, I believe, is on sale because it has the in colors in it. And then you'll want to check out the Halloween kit for all your spooky treats, okay? So keep those in mind. Do you all have any questions for me before we get started tonight? Let me know. I'm delighted to be with you. Welcome to Be Creative Stamping. My name is Tammy Shia, and welcome to Facebook Live in the Hive. I'm delighted that you have decided to join me this evening. Today we worked on our upcoming retreat, and we worked on pillow gifts, and we worked on make and takes. And so tomorrow we sort all the kits and package them for the retreat, and we're going to finish up some pillow gifts. So if you haven't signed up yet, it's not too late. Today is the last day of early bird. Tomorrow you can sign up, but it will be $10 additional. You can also sign up online, and I'm going to give you all those details tonight at the end of the broadcast. Also, when I'm done this evening, I'll go back to this post and I'll put in all of the links for you, okay? Oh gosh, Carol, what a great question. Do you have any of those treat bags there so I can see their size? I do, Carol, but I don't have it assembled. And it's like across the room in a cabinet. But Carol, what I'll try and do is, and actually, Carol, look in the online store. I think it's going to give you the dimensions, but it's probably 2 by 2 inches by like 4 inches. So I would say definitely 2 by 2 inches by 4 inches. If anyone has the Halloween kit, if you've put it together, will you please let us know? I feel like the dimensions will be in the online store though, so check there, okay? I'm sorry I can't be more helpful. Okay, next week I will not be here, okay? I've got family things to attend to, and so I will skip next Wednesday night, but I'll be back with you on Wednesday night, August 27th, okay? So put that down, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, okay? Well, let's get started. I am going to grab my laptop because I have measurements for you tonight. We're going to be creating this tote. It's from the Celebratory Sips designer paper. And I do want to show you that paper. This tote is perfect for standard size note cards or greeting cards. And it also fits the 3.5 by 5 note cards. So you can get lots of cards in this thing. If it's a standard card, you're going to get 4 in here with 4 envelopes. Okay. So, oh my gosh, Carol, I so get that. Carol says I'm a visual learner. So am I. I have got to see it, right? Measurements are great, but it's always so helpful to see it. Okay, so let's look at the Celebratory Sips designer paper, and then I'm going to share those measurements with you, okay? Now, you're probably saying, Tammy, you've made this tote 1,000 times, but whenever I see a paper that I absolutely love, I have to make one. So it's just like I see the paper, it's like, oh my gosh, I could make that a tote. So it's a little bit of a review for all of us. I'm going to share the designer paper with you, but I will tell you, I may not have all of it because I've pretty much used a ton of it for our virtual club this month, okay? For the virtual club and for classes and so on. I'm going to move my iPad back just a little bit, and I'm going to switch over to my hands, and we're going to look at the designer paper. So this is one of the pieces. There's some lemonade, and there's wine, and some cocktails, lemons and limes, just lots of fun stuff. Donna, I'm so glad you love the tote. Here is the opposite of the bottles, and this is strawberry slush. And then we have this paper, and on the back, you're going to see Old Olive. Lucky Limeade also looks great. There's so many nice colors. So here is another sheet of designer paper, and you may be wondering, what can I do with this, right? Aren't you thinking that? Because I was thinking that. So in the stamp set, let me locate my stamp set. There is a glass of wine and a tall glass for iced tea, for lemonade, or for cocktails. You're going to notice that these short squares, you can actually stamp the glass on top of this piece of designer paper, cut it out, and then your glass is full of drink. You can also take the taller glass and stamp it here, and then you've got a taller drink. So it's really quite fun how they did this. Let me see if I can grab my stamp set. Let's see. Okay, so I can grab one of them for you. I'm going to show you real quick. And by the way, these are tips that I like to give during my Be Inspired virtual club. But if you take the short glass, which we're doing now, and let's say we stamp here. I'm going to scoop this down so you can see. I've stamped this right on top of the printed image, and watch what I do. You can actually use a die to cut out the wine glass, or you can fussy cut just like I'm doing right now. Now again, there is another image for the tall glass. And you would use, if you have the tall glass, you're going to use this rectangle. You won't want to use this one, or you can. You know, there's nothing saying that you can't do that. So you can do both. Now look, I have a glass of punch, a glass of lemonade, a glass of red wine, whatever it is you want to call it. Okay? So there it is. When I first saw this paper, it reminded me of the Hungry Caterpillar. And I'm like, wait, what's going on here? But isn't it fun? And you'll get 2 sheets of this, so you can have all kinds of drinks. Then you can use the dies to cut out the tall drinks as well as the short ones. And you can fussy cut them, or you can use the dies to cut both sizes out, okay? So really, really fun paper. Now this one right here is just one of my absolute favorites. I love this piece. And with this piece of paper, you can actually cut this out with a die. You can cut this image out with a die. This image along with the cherry and along with the large strawberry. And I'll zoom in a little bit on that. Okay, so you can just see how beautiful that piece of paper is. So lots of dies to cut out these images, okay? And then, let's see. This one is the one that we're going to be using tonight to create our tote. And I love this piece. It's got berry burst in it, timid tiger, bubble bath, old olive. You could use lemon lime twist, peach pie. It is just a wonderful piece of designer paper. And here's the opposite side, which is orange. I know that's a little hard to see because I've got some shadows here. But that's the designer paper. What is the orange piece? Gail asked. Gail, are we referring to this piece here? Which piece are you referring to? And I will try and answer that for you. All right. You can use timid tiger with this, peach pie. I'm just checking to see if there are any other questions. So isn't this fun paper? So if you're in my Be Inspired Virtual Club, you'll receive a half package of this designer paper along with ribbon and along with embellishments, along with 8 card kits, okay? All right. So now what I would like to show you are the measurements for tonight's tote, okay? So this is the actual tote right here that we're going to create. And I'm going to switch over to measurements. All right. And if you'll give me just a second. There we go. These are your measurements tonight if you want to take a few minutes and get a screenshot. Everyone, Gail was asking me about this piece right here, and I believe it is an orange peel. Thank you, Corinne, for picking that up. Yeah, it's curly. Now, there isn't a die for this, okay? You would fussy cut this. But what's nice is these things are very easy to fussy cut, or we do have a lot of the dies that will work with this paper, okay? All right, so let's bring in the tote. Are you guys ready? All right, let's see what we're gonna need this evening. Okay, so to create the tote, I like to start with a template because this template helps me cut this circle, okay, in the center. So I know I want the front of the bag to be 6 inches, okay? And then I know I want it to be 4.5 inches high, okay? So 6 inches by 4.5 inches. The next thing I do is, and let me grab a Post-it. I like to take a Post-it note, and we're actually going to be using these dies tonight. This is Stylish Shapes, and this is what we're going to use for the handles. I'm going to show you one of the handles. This is Timid Tiger, by the way, and it's the largest die, okay? So this will be really important for this evening. The largest circle die, and let me zoom out just a bit. And then you're going to want this die, okay? And by using these two dies, I am able to create this handle, okay? So let's see if I need to cut one. I've already cut enough for tonight, but what you would do is, well, first of all, we'll talk about the handle in a minute. Let's talk about the template because I want to show you how to create your template so that your handle is centered, okay? And this wants to get caught over there. All right, so keep this in mind. Largest die, and then this die, okay? This die right here is the middle die from there, okay? That's the middle die. And so what I usually do is, this is the sticky part of my Post-it note. I will actually run this through the machine, which you know what? I can do that because I have it right here. Now I'm not sure how close we're gonna be to the camera, pretty close. But I wanna show you how I do the template. All right, where's my sticky part? Sticky's right here at the top. I'm gonna put this circle here, and then I'm gonna roll this through, okay? And this is gonna help me create that template. All right, oh, come on. Okay, now we can move the machine. Okay. So when I'm creating the template, I like to make sure that I just kind of stick this, okay? I just kind of stick this in the middle and then I'll start measuring. For example, this is about it's about 1 5/8. And so I want to make sure that it's about 1 5/8 over here. And I'll just keep repositioning my Post-it until I have it in the center, okay? In the center from left to right. So I just keep measuring. Like if I were to put my circle here, that's 1 inch, and over here it's 2 1/4. So I know this is not in the center. So that's the first thing you want to do is figure out where the center is of this template. Now, of course, you can measure, and the center is 3 inches, okay? And then you can work from there. But I wanted to give you an idea about how I get started about creating the center of the bag and adding the handles. So this is one of the handles in Tangerine Tango. It's got this beautiful stitching on the outside. Excuse me, I'm going to interrupt myself. It is not Tangerine Tango. I'm not sure where that came from other than being an in color many years ago. It is Timid Tiger. And I've been doing that a lot lately. So sorry about that. All right, so what I usually do is just take a piece of paper, and in this case, Timid Tiger. All right, and let's just pretend this is my scrap piece of paper. I would put my circle here. I would center this circle, and then I would roll it through the Stampin' Cut Emboss machine, all right? You're gonna wanna do that 4 times. You're going to need 4 handles. It'll be 2 handles per side of the bag, okay? So that's the first thing you wanna do. And by the way, ladies, I do not measure this. I just eye this. I'm like, that looks centered to me. Now I'm gonna roll it through the machine, okay? So please keep that in mind. But you will need 4 of these. Okay, and we're gonna set that aside. And we know that we are using stylish shapes in order to create the handles, okay? All right, so the next thing we'll need is, and I'm gonna clean up because I'm gonna bring that machine back in here again. we have our 2 panels. This is what's going to make the tote bag, okay? And I know that I am going to need that circle, okay? That one circle that, let me show you one more time. Remember, we're using this circle and this circle to create our handle, right? And we're using this circle that fits right in the middle. That's the one we're gonna use to cut these half circles, okay? So I just wanna make sure that you know that. And I'm gonna zoom all the way out because we're gonna be bringing the machine in. I like to cut these at the very same time, okay? So that I know that my handles are going to be even, that they will line up on each side, all right? So I like to flip mine over because this is the front, this is the back of the tote, okay? Then of course, I want to add the template. That was the whole reason, right? Whole reason for me creating the template. And then we'll bring in our Stampin' Cut Emboss machine and we're gonna get ready to cut. Now, have I lost anybody? I hope this hasn't been too confusing. All right, and you can go through this way or you can go through sideways. I think I'm going through sideways. Let's see. I don't have to. I'm going to lay this up here, and that is about where I want to cut that out, okay? Then I am going to add the top plate, and then I'm going to roll it through, all right? And I think this might be the only time we'll need our machine this evening. All right, so now we're kind of stuck to the plate. Let's make sure we cut through. I think we cut through, but you know what? I'm going through again to make sure I got through both layers. Always check for that. And let me check again. I need to put on my glasses. Did we cut through? I'm going to do one thing. I'm gonna try and leave the die on. There we go. I'm gonna cut through this way just to make sure we've gotten through those 2 pieces of designer paper. And by now we should have, and there we are, okay? So now we have the front of the tote and we have the back of the tote, and everything is lined up perfectly. And that is what you want, okay? So I'm gonna save my template because I can save it for another project. All right. Now at this point, we're ready to put on our handles. So we're gonna do that next, and I can zoom in closer for you. All right. And we'll just separate them. Okay. This is where I like to use my Tombow liquid glue. And I am just going to add a little bit of liquid glue right around the edge. And then I'm going to attach the circle. And be looking here to make sure that everything is even. I just eye it. At this point, I don't measure anymore. I just kind of eye it. This is what I have. And now I'm working on the inside. I'm gonna cover this up, okay? We're gonna make this look nice and neat and clean as can be. It's gonna look really professional when we're done with this handle. And then we're just gonna line up that handle like this, okay? All right, Now, it's gotten really, really quiet. So, I do hope I'm not boring you. I hope you're still there. I know we've made this one a couple of times, but every time you make one, you learn something new, right? So that's the first side of our tote. I'm gonna grab a sip of water. I'm getting really thirsty. Okay. Now we're ready for 2 more handles and a little bit of liquid glue. I like to do the outside first. Notice how your glue doesn't have to be perfect. We're gonna put that one about there. I'm gonna compare the two. Oh, that's perfect. That is lining up beautifully. All right. And I'm gonna move out of the way here. I should have used my silicone mat tonight. Why didn't I think of that? Now we're gonna do the inside. And we're gonna add this, okay? Oh, good, Becky, I'm glad you're still here. All right, so hopefully the template wasn't confusing. I hope it wasn't. All right, so guess what? We have both sides of our tote. They're done, and now we're ready to add a bottom, okay? All right, so that's what we're gonna do next. We're going to take this piece of Timid Tiger. It's 3 by 6 inches. And if you missed the instructions or if you missed the measurements, they're in the beginning of the video if you're watching replay. And we are going to score at a 1/2 inch, okay? I am going to be scoring on this side. That's a 1/2 inch right there. I could also choose to score this way, and that's a 1/2 inch. But I'm gonna line my paper up with this 1/2 inch right here. And I'm gonna use the scoring blade, and I'm gonna get those score lines in there, okay? All right, two things you can do here. You can flip it around. Did you see me? I scored and then I flipped it around and I'm gonna do a 1/2. You can do that, okay? But there's also another way you can do it. You can score here at a 1/2 inch. Hope I'm not confusing you. And then score again at 2.5 inches. And you'll have the same score lines. Hope that makes sense. So if you were to score this, you score along the 3 inch side, you would score at a 1/2 inch and then again at 2.5 inches. The other option is to score at a 1/2 inch, turn your cardstock around and score at a 1/2 inch. So you can do it either way. It's the same measurements, okay? Melissa, yes, I have made so many of these totes over the years. Oh my gosh, your memory serves you correct. Too funny. All right, so now we've got these score lines and I'm gonna fold them so that you can see them. Okay, so there's a score line, there's a score line. Then we're gonna take the tear and tape. Okay. And you can either tear it or use your paper snips. We were making pillows gifts today for retreat, and we used a lot of scoring tape, putting little gifts together. Okay. All right, so here we are. It's on both sides. Now comes the fun part. We get to add this to this, okay? So let's peel this off. I like to take my paper snips and just kind of lift under the blade, or excuse me, lift under the tape, I'm sorry. Now we're gonna add this designer paper right along the score line. Okay? And then we're gonna rub that. And look what we have. We have one side of the tote. And see, we're creating a bottom for the tote. All right? Oh my gosh, Becky, I really should. Becky has a great idea. I should display all my totes on a shelf. Oh my gosh. Why have I never thought of that? I really should. A lot of times what will happen is if I always make these totes for all the new in colors, all 5 new in colors. And then when those in colors retire, I raffle them off, draw names, and give them to my customers. So they do go to good use. So, but no, that would really be fun to do a display. All right, again, everyone, I'm just laying that right along that score line, okay? And this is what you're going to have. This is your look, okay? That's your tote right there, the tote bottom, okay? All right, so Tina, the theme for the retreat is back to school, but it's back to stamp school. So we kind of have a school-related theme. And then the 6 make and takes, we are using a brand new Christmas suite from the Holiday Mini, and it's called Traditions of Christmas. It's the first suite in the mini, okay? So those will be the make and takes. All right, we need to make sides, okay, so that we have an actual tote, and that's what I'm gonna show you next. So for this, and I'm gonna move this out of the way because you know what we need? We need the trimmer. All right, 2 pieces of Timid Tiger. They need to measure 3 inches by 5 inches, okay? 3 inches by 5 inches, 2 of these. Then we're going to be bringing in the trimmer. I'm gonna get my glasses on here. And we're gonna score along the 3-inch side, okay? And again, we're gonna score it at a 1/2 inch. So I'm gonna use my scoring tool. All right. And then I'm gonna rotate that paper again, and I'm going to score at a 1/2 inch. And then I'm gonna rotate one little turn, and I'm gonna score at a 1/2 inch. Okay, so let's do that on the next one. Let's go for that 1/2 inch. Turn it all the way around, do the other side, 1/2 inch. By the way, every time I do this tote, I teach it a different way. So there are lots of different videos on how I've done this. Okay, so there we have it. We've got a 1/2 inch score line on 3 sides, all right? Now comes the trickiest part, okay? You're going to need 2 items. That's a pencil, and you're going to want a Pentel Click Eraser. This eraser, I swear by. It is amazing. I've used this probably 30 years. And I've used it in scrapbooking, and I use it in stamping. And it is a great, great eraser. Okay, so you're gonna need the eraser, trust me. All right, so what we're gonna do is, let's see. All right, let's see, this is 3 inches. So what I wanna do is, I want to mark this at 1.5 inches. So I can do that with a ruler. And that might be easier to show you. All right, by the way, this here, the top, does not have a score line going across, and this is where I'm going to put a tick mark. This is the middle of the cardstock, okay? It is at 1.5 inches. Now you're gonna need to do that on both of these. So let me do the second one. And this is where your pencil comes in handy. Something else I'm going to show you Do you see where this intersects? This is where we want to score. So we're going to take the Stampin' trimmer. We're going to score from this pencil point. I'm trying to get all of this in the camera. This pencil point all the way to this pencil point. And we're going to do the same on this side. All right. So I will be scoring at a diagonal. Yes, I will be scoring at a diagonal. Now let me mark this one. I'm going to put those little pencil marks right where those lines intersect. Okay? That's really important. Then I am going to, you see this pencil mark where I put that? I want to put it in the track. And then you're going to take this pencil mark and you want that in the track. Okay, just like that. So I'm going to score from there to there. And of course your paper loves to move on you, but the neat thing is with the Stampin' trimmer, you're going to be able to see that pencil mark right through the guide, okay? So here we go. And I'll show you what we've done so far. All right, pencil mark all the way down to there. And I know it's difficult to see. We're going to do it again. We've got to make that diagonal. And you can even position that pencil mark once you've closed this part. And then now you have it. All right. So pencil mark, score line right here. Pencil mark, score line right here. Okay? So you have to do that on both of them. So now let me do my second one. And again, you can see those little pencil marks right through the guide, so that's very helpful. Now that I've done both, I'm going to take my scissors, and believe it or not, I'm actually going to cut right through that pencil mark. This is the bottom, ladies, that I am trimming. So this is what you want it to look like when it's scored and after you cut the corners. I cut the corners because it makes it less bulky. So you should have two that look just like this, okay? All right, let me grab some water. Okay, the next thing that we're ready to do is add tear and tape. So let's do that. We're gonna start here. We're gonna go all the way down to the end. And then we're going to trim. All right. Then we're gonna do it again. And by the way, if I trim this way, the tape had an angle on it, so that's why I just kind of turned it around so I could continue to use that little angle. See the angle on the tape? It lines up. Just like that. All right. So now the first side is done. You're going to see me fold it in a second. Oh, by the way, we need to get rid of this pencil mark. So guess what? My Pentel eraser took care of that pencil mark. It's the best. It is the best. If you all want a link to it, let me know. All right. And then I'll do this side. Doesn't really matter how you put on the tape as long as you're putting it on, right? And this has an angle. So I go from here to here. And now I'm going to erase that pencil mark. It is gone. Okay. Now let's fold these score lines and look at this, and you'll see why I did all that crazy scoring. I'm actually going to bend this in like that. And I'm going to bend this in like that. This is the side of the tote. Look at this, the side of the tote. See that? So that is what we are actually creating right now, okay? So let's do it again. I do like to fold all my score lines before adding them to the tote. It just makes it easier. Okay, and I can promise you the first tote you make, you're going to be like, I'm never doing this again. But then the more you make them, it becomes addicting. So has anybody out there made one of these totes and then you want it to make more and more and more? That's what happens to me. Okay, we're bringing our tote back in, and you're going to notice that we're ready to add the sides. Let me see if I can zoom out a little. I'm not sure where my camera is. Oh, okay. I was really zoomed in there. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to be peeling off this bottom flap. Okay, there's the bottom. And I am going to add it right here. Let me show you how I did that. This is the score line. It's lining up with the end of the bag. That is the flap. It's going to be on the inside of the tote. And then we're going to bring it up. Okay? All right. So if I were to make a lot of these, and I have, I would cut all the front and back totes at the same time. Okay? So if you're making this and you're making lots of them, cut your front and your back, okay? Then cut all your handles. Get all the handles out of the way. Then cut all the bottoms. Then cut your sides. Then you can assemble. It just makes it easier, and it's just, it's baby steps, right? It's those baby steps that make it enjoyable. Okay, I'm doing the same on this side. That score line is lining up with the tote. This flap's on the inside. This is going to go up like this. So see how this is going to happen? We are going to be peeling off that tear and tape, and we're going to attach it, okay? Oh my goodness, Donna says, yes, I've made several from the postcards. Joe Ellen and Christy love them. Oh, that's awesome. And Melissa says it's inspiring her to make some more. Oh, I'm so happy. That's great, Melissa. I'm happy about that. All right, let's go ahead and let's peel off the side. Oops. And sometimes I use my Take Your Pick tool. And sometimes I use my paper snips. So it's all in what you get used to doing. Okay. And then I am going to pull this up. Now I want the top to align with the side. So I make sure I get that top on there first. Okay. All right. And then I like to take a bone folder really, and just kind of burnish this. Hang on one second so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. And now we're going to do this side. And we're going to bring this up. Sorry, I was out of the camera. Make sure the top meets with that. Sometimes you kind of have to tug on it, but that's okay. It's okay to tug on it to get it to align. All right, first part is done. We did it. So now we're going to do this side. Same thing's going to happen. I'm going to turn it. I'm going to make sure that this corner up here is going to meet that side. Again, sometimes you got to tug on it to get it to fit. And I'm just putting my bone folder in there to get that to stick really well. We're gonna do this side. And then we're gonna get this side to align as well. And then I'll put my bone folder in there. And then you can take your fingers and kind of poke that inside, okay? And do that. All right, and you have a little purse. We're going to make a little tag for it because that's always fun to do, is to make a tag to go with the tote. So hang on, I've got some Post-it notes and stuff. Let me move that. All right. So the tag that we're gonna make this evening, it looks like this, all right? And I'm using this die. Now let me show you where this is from, okay? It is from Paper Tags. We're going to be using this right here, this greeting. I want to show you the dies. Let me move this out of the way. See, that's what we're going to do. We're going to be stamping that. And then here are the dies. There's a little banner. These two can layer on top each other. Then we have this one and this one. And when you cut it out, the little heart actually comes out as well, okay? So that is called Paper Tags. We're going to be using Old Olive ink. And then I'm actually going to stamp it towards the top. Now, if you're more comfortable, stamp it on basic white paper and then cut it out. I'm fairly comfortable in doing this, so I have the die already cut. So now I'm ready to use that. We're gonna also use a little strawberry slush. So let me get my stamp cleaner. All right, stamp cleaner. It's always fun to have a little tag to go with your tote. I'm going to move my tote out of the way before I get ink all over it. Let's see. I'm looking for scrap paper, and I had some. Here it is. Now I'm going to ink this, and I'm going to stamp it in strawberry slush. I love saying that, strawberry slush. And then I'm going to do a little fussy cutting. And I want the word celebrate. So I'm going to be cutting that out. And hopefully you can see that. It's a really easy word to cut out. If you're making lots of these, then you want to just stamp a bunch and then cut these when you're watching TV at night. You just need a good light in order to do it. Get yourself a nice crafting light. All right, let me check and see. We're gonna add some dimensionals because that always makes it more fun. All right. And then we are going to add this. Hello, Billy. Thanks for being with us from West Virginia. We are going to line this up and put it right over the other part. Okay? Now our tag's a little long, so what we can do is we can take our trimmer and we can just trim some off. Okay? And we've made a shorter tag. So we'll take a couple of glue dots. That's what I like to use. I love the dimension. Oh my gosh. It just makes such a difference, doesn't it? I'm gonna put my glue dot about there, and then we are going to hang our tag. Okay, and that really should hold it. The other thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add some of this yummy ribbon. Let's see, where did I put, here's my ribbon right here. All right. Just make a little bow. Oh my gosh, Winkastella would be lovely, Billy. I am gonna put it, we're gonna add a lemon. We're gonna add some citrus here in a second, and we will definitely do some Winkastella on that. All right, by the way, this gold trim is part of the Celebratory Sip Suite. And if you're in my Be Inspired virtual club, you will get a full roll of this. I also add labels now to all my spools of ribbon for you as a courtesy. And I also add a label to your embellishment package as well, telling you which catalog it's in or if it is an online exclusive. So that is a perk for being in my Be Inspired club. I'm gonna tell you about it in just a second. You'll want to hear all those details because it closes on Friday. Registration will close for the month and it will close this Friday, okay? Now, let's talk citrus, okay? Because in the original, I have added a strawberry slush citrus, okay? So I have some tips for you. When stamping your citrus, it is best to stamp a lot at one time. Therefore, when you're creating a card, you've gotten them stamped, you've gotten them cut out with the die, and they're ready to put on your cards or projects, okay? So I use, and I'll show you the measurements. I don't remember if it's 4 or 4 1/4. Okay, so this is 4 by 5 1/4. All right, so the basic white paper is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. Then take your Darling Duckling, Daffodil Delight, Crushed Curry, whichever color you want, and stamp 3 in a row and stamp 4 rows, okay? So you got a full sheet of your yellow citrus. Then you'll do the same in Lemon Lime Twist. You can do the same in Strawberry Slush and the same in Timid Tiger. Now, you're gonna wanna cut them out. So I'm gonna give you a tip using the die. And again, ladies, these are the types of tips that I am giving my Be Inspired club members, okay? They get the VIP treatment. They get step-by-step videos, tips, tricks, techniques, and it's your own personal little class. Plus, you're creating 8 cards. Now, if you look at the die, it is slightly flat on one side. If you look at the stamped image, it is slightly flat on one of the images. I will tell you the very first 10 times you do this, you'll probably not cut it correctly, okay? You have got to look for that flat area. Once you find that, cutting is going to become very easy. So remember, your first 10 stamps and die cutting, they're gonna be terrible because you're getting used to a brand new stamp and a brand new die. But once you figure out this die, you're going to love it and you're going to be able to roll these through the Stampin' Cut emboss machine without a problem. Now, collect them and put them in a bag. Look, there's a little wedge there. You can cut them in half. And therefore, when you're creating cards, They're all together in a bag. You just pull them out. So we made some pillow gifts today for our upcoming retreat. And guess what? These were already cut. And we didn't have to take time to stop, stamp, and cut. Okay? So that's really one of the best tips that I can give you. I highly recommend it. And please consider being in the Be Inspired Virtual Card Club. I have details coming right up in a second. All right, so as you already know, my citrus is already cut. So I'm just gonna look through my bag. I can pick any color I want. On the original, I use strawberry slush. Let's see if there's any timid tiger. Aha, I see one. But we'll go ahead, we'll use timid tiger because it's right up here at the top of the bag. And I have two in my hand. I love to pop this up. I'm going to use one dimensional to do that. Okay. And then we're going to add a little bit of Wink of Stella. All right. Now, for those of you who are in my Be Inspired Club, it's a great time for you to chime in and let others know what they might be missing. I'm going to finish this up, and I'm going to add the embellishments. It's the holographic resin dots. Here's the label. All of my Be Inspired Club members get the VIP treatment, and they get labels on all of their supplies. And then let's just add a little bling somewhere else. Why don't we put one there? We're gonna add 3, okay? By the way, these come in, I think they come in 3 sizes, am I right? 3 sizes. This does not tell me. I wanna say it was 3 different sizes from what I can remember. All right. So that's our tote. Unfortunately, it's too delicate for me to ship. So I'm just happy to share this with you this evening. And who knows, at retreat, I may raffle it away. All righty. So I'll let you look at the finished product for just a few minutes. All right, and I'm gonna scoot back to me, and I'm gonna show you where you can find the information for the Be Inspired Club. And when this video is over this evening, I will put a link where you can actually sign up. All right, so let's see here. The link that I give you is going to take you to this page right here. It's going to tell you all about Virtual Club. You get to make 8 cards each month with a bundle. And this month, it's all about Cheers and Sips bundle. I have 4 different card designs. So that's 2 of each design for you to create. There's always at least 2 fun folds. And every once in a while, I've been known to throw a treat inside the kit. And by the way, there's a treat this month, an extra treat. So there's nothing like Happy Meal, not Happy Meal, Happy Mail. It's nothing like Happy Mail. So I hope you will consider it. It does have rewards. When you stay in the club for 6 consecutive months, you will receive a goodie bag that includes $25 worth of product. Okay, at the 6th month. It's $45 a month. That does include your shipping. It includes usually 6 videos, tips and tricks. I email you a page. It has all the videos on it. Plus it will have tonight's Facebook Live on the page for you. So it just makes it convenient for you. You can sign up until this Friday if you want the Cheers and Sips projects. Here are the projects. It's a sneak peek of all 4 of them. So that's kind of what they look like. Okay. And it closes on the 15th, and then next month we will start in on a brand new bundle. I always let you know what the bundle is the first day of each month, okay? So if you scroll down to the end of this page, you can sign up here. That puts you on the mailing list for the club. But you also need to click here in order to subscribe. And that's going to take you to a page where you can pay. You can pay via PayPal or debit or credit card, okay? It is a monthly subscription, and so it will be billed to your card each month, okay? Any questions for me? I am going to give you a sneak peek of the cards because I think you'll like that. Doesn't everybody want to see what we're up to? All right, so this is a fun fold this month, and it has a belly band. So you slide off the belly band, and this opens like this, and then it opens like this. So this is a wonderful fun fold. You can use this with any designer paper. It doesn't have to be this. The other nice thing about Club is if you don't like the Cheers and Sips, use a bundle you already have at home. Last month we did Perfectly Pairs. These cards would be great with Perfectly Pairs bundle. Even the Perfectly Pairs designer paper. So here we are, another card, and this one we've used the embossing folder with. You're gonna learn how to die cut this and make it beautiful. And here is another embossing folder. By the way, when you receive your kit, your embossing's already done for you. I have done your basic die cutting, but if they're die cuts within the bundle, you do cut those yourself. For example, this circle will already be die cut for you, but you will die cut all of the pieces, okay? So these are this month's cards. There are 8 total. You're gonna make 2 of each one, all right? 2 of each card. If you don't care for Cheers and Sips, use last month's Perfectly Pairs. Use a different designer paper. Use the Sweet Jar bundle. We did that in June. So there are lots of ways for you to be creative and not use the Cheers and Sips at all right? Because look at that beautiful flower paper. You can use that with any card. It doesn't have to be with the Cheers and the Sips, okay? Any questions for me? These are going to fit beautifully inside my brand new tote. By the way, you do get envelopes with each card, okay? So an envelope will be with each card. And tonight's video will be on your private page so that you can make this tote and you don't have to go look for the video, okay? Thank you, Becky. I am so glad you like the cards. All right. Diane, I think this card is called an accordion fold, okay? Accordion fold card, all right? All right, any questions for me regarding Club? I'm happy to answer them. You don't want to miss this month. It's going to be a lot of fun. You get a supply list with all the measurements. You get photos. You get a video, step-by-step video on how to make each card, okay? And then there'll be a video just for the supplies. And if there are any tips and tricks I need to share, there's another video for that, okay? All right, I'm not seeing any questions. Today is also the last day to sign up for our fall retreat. I will put that link information on the Facebook post when I'm done, okay? So that you'll have that link as well, all right? I have really enjoyed being with you. I've missed you guys. First I was at the beach, and then I had a great niece. I will not be here next week. I've got some family things to attend to, but I will be back, excuse me, the following Wednesday night, August 27th, at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, okay? I hope you all have a great week coming up and the week after that as well, and I'll look forward to seeing you on August 27th. Feel free to email me or message me on Facebook with questions regarding retreat or the virtual club. And I thank you for being here and blessing my day. Have a great one, everybody. Bye.